Another episode of Dad's Making. I'm just adjusting everything so that it looks fine. So, oh yeah, no. So, yeah, let's say that does look okay. Well, let's move it over a smidge. Yeah, better in the middle. Okay. So what are we doing today? We are doing a chocolate and buttermilk cheesecake. As always, I will put the recipe up into the description. And so here we go. So what do we need? We need 1 1/4 cup of graham crackers or something like that. I am using ginger nut biscuits, because I just think that the flavor is nice, right? Then we need 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. So, and then we need 6 tablespoons of melted butter. So let's get a melting. Let's put that in here. And while we are doing that, while we're doing that and waiting just for a minute to get everything melted, right? I'm just going to incorporate the sugar and the crackers and maybe even crack them a bit more, or ginger nuts in my case. Don't see many graham crackers over here in Ireland, to be honest. But yeah, so we're almost there. Let's see. Yeah, let's just look at our butter here. It's basically melted. Let's just give it a stir so the last few little bits melt in here. So okay, that's fine now. So now let's combine the butter with our cookies and sugar and just give it a good old mix. And if something like this happens, like me, where it feels a bit wet, you can always take a few more, right? And just break them down. So that's what I'm gonna do. So let's just smush them in our hands. You know, they'll soak up some of the butter if you either use too much or the cookie is not or absorbs more. Well, if you need more cookie, basically, you know, or graham cracker or whatever. So I think 3 or 4 additional ginger nuts should do it. So yeah. How are you handling this quarantine and all? What have you made? Have you done a bit of gardening, planted some vegetables or herbs in your garden? You know, gardening is something that is very nice and very wholesome and can be very peaceful, and you can do it with your kids the same way this here. Like my boy isn't here today right now to help me, you know, plus I don't really want him to have an internet presence before he can make the decision himself, and he's 3, you know. But yeah, like, you know, munching together butter and cookies, like, Who doesn't enjoy that, you know? So let's get rid of the bowl. Move this over here. Here's our cake tin that I have buttered beforehand. Sorry. Now let's get our mixture in here and let's flatten it out and try to spread it evenly around our pan. And again, if you recognize here, oh, I might not have enough, you know what, then scrunch up a few more and just get them mixed in. That's fine. Like, I won't tell if you won't. So let's get this nice and small so you can evenly distribute your bottom or the base of our cake. So if anyone is wondering, this is the first time I am making this recipe, and it's the first time I'm making a cheesecake. And you know what? That's the fun part, or another fun part about it. It's just trying stuff out, you know? And then give this a good mix again. And press it down. Just to really get a nice even layer of cookies. Plus, when you're pressing it down, you can scrunch up a few of the big bits that are left, right? So that is perfect. Well, perfect enough, you know. So you should preheat your oven at 350 Fahrenheit, that's 200 degrees, and bake this in the oven for 10 minutes. I just need to quickly change gloves because they are buttery. But as you can see here, it's nice. So let's get this baby in the oven. 10 minutes. So they'll go by fairly quickly, won't they? So now I have a fresh set of gloves. Let's just put them on, and we will get onto our filling. So for our filling, we need 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. That's roughly 200 gram packages if you are metric and don't live in the US like I am. And all of these ingredients come from Aldi, and again, as they have in the past. So, fresh gloves. So then you need 3/4 of a cup granulated sugar, 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 8 ounces of dark chocolate chunks melted, 1/4 cup cocoa powder unsweetened, 1 cup of buttermilk, 3 large eggs, and that's it. So in a large bowl, what we first do, we combine our cream cheese. So let me get a knife. Get all of this cream cheese goodness out. So let's get this all out of here. Probably could do a bit better scraping, but maybe I'll just use the little bits that are left later for some crackers. Crackers and soft cheese, that's also very nice. Bit of chive, or yeah, maybe a bit of sea salt and pepper. You can also add some dried tomatoes or some peppers, you know, maybe even some corn chunks. So and then you have a lovely snack in the evening with whatever beverage you like. I don't drink, so for me that would be either some nice sparkling water with a lemon or lime wedge, or some lemonade, or Coke, Diet Coke, something like that. So now let's get rid of our trash and let's take this off here. So now let's just combine those with each other. You can use a hand mixer or you can use your hand and mix, you know, as long as they're working, you know, or maybe you just prefer to use electrical appliances, then do. So then we add the vanilla essence. As I've said in a few other videos, we really like our vanilla in this house. So I'm using a whole little bottle. If you want to keep to the recipe, like I said, it's half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon. And then you combine that until it's nice and mixed up together. Okay, that's done. What's our next step? We need to melt our chocolate. I've already began breaking it up. In this case, I'm using Mose oat chili with dark chocolate, or dark chocolate with chili. But you can use just regular old dark chocolate. Make sure that it's a higher percentage, because that's better for you in the long run. Plus, when you melt lower quality chocolate or lower percentage chocolate, you may realize that it can quickly turn into a weird caramelly substance, and that's because the sugar is so high in content or in it that you're not really melting chocolate, you're more so melting sugar. You know, so I see the old Netflix had a new update for me. Well, that can wait. Just started watching iZombie last week, and I have to say, it's fine. It's not like the most brilliant show, but it's a fine show. It's a fun show. It's a bit silly, of course, you know, but we all need a bit of silliness, especially in these times. So now we have our chocolate chunks. Let's put it into the microwave for a minute and keep checking on it until it's melted. That generally does only take a minute. So yeah, we have our vanilla and cream cheese put together. 4 more minutes for our cake crust, crumb bottom. No soggy bottoms, as Mary Berry normally says, and I don't think this will be a soggy bottom. And if it needs a few more minutes, you know what, you can always pop it back in for a few more minutes. So let me have a quick look. Oh, still needs to melt a bit more. Need a fresh spoon to give that a stir then once it is ready. But yeah, just need to wait a moment. And we'll see. The next steps then, once we've melted our chocolate, will be to incorporating that with our cocoa powder and beat until it's nicely mixed. Well, let's see. Let's have a little stir. It's only starting to melt, so let's put it in for another minute. Another minute should do it, I hope. So, and as always, like, these are all recipes, or I try to pick things that you can do with your kids. Like, none of this here is dangerous. You don't need sharp knives or blades or anything. You break up crisps, or you break up cookies, you break up chocolate, you mix stuff together with your hands or with a, you know, or an electrical one. So this is all stuff that you can just simply do with your kids. Easy peasy, you know. So I'll just quickly check my chocolate. Give it another stir. And if you do make a mess, and you will, don't worry about it. See, this is nicely melted. So, depending on the settings on your microwave, can take a bit longer or go a bit faster. For me, it was now 1:36, and as you can see, the chocolate is nicely melted. Just a few small chunks. So now, actually get this out here, because we don't really need to beat anymore. We need to incorporate now, right? So, and that's fine. The nice thing about these things is, when you're done, you can always give it a lick. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to switch spoons though. So now let's get chocolate, our melted chocolate, into our mixture. Oops. Like I said, accidents happen when making things by yourself and when you're making it with your kids. So quickly, how much of our cocoa powder do we need? A quarter cup. Quarter cup is easily done. So, and if you like it a bit more chocolatey, like me, then you use half a cup. You know, and then let's incorporate this all into with each other. Look at that. Bit of a ripple effect even there, huh? So, let me just quickly try to get it as incorporated as possible. As you can see, we have a lovely chocolatey mixture. Look, you can mix as long as you want. And if a little chunk of chocolate or white streak bothers you from the cream cheese, then mix as long as you want, or as you can. I'm okay with what I have there. So now we have our bottom. The next step, and this will take probably the longest, is to cool this baby down. So, seeing that we need to wait, and this will probably take 45 minutes for it to cool down nicely. Yeah, we're not going to wait for that together. But basically, I'm just going to set it here. Going to leave the oven on. It's probably going to be faster at 45 minutes. I'm just overestimating, like Scotty used to do on the Enterprise, you know, because it's always better to under promise and over deliver than to do the opposite. So, so now that we have this in, now we need to add the buttermilk. So, and for that we need, how much did I say? A cup of buttermilk. So you can just use your cup that you measured your cocoa in. It's gonna be mixed anyway. You don't need, you know, unless you're like you've touched it with your mouth or something like it, you don't need to switch if it's just ingredients that touched, that will be mixed together anyway. So now we have that. Now let's get mixing again. And I know it looks like a mess, you know, and that's okay. It's baked cheesecake. Like I said, it's always okay, especially when you're not doing it by yourself, but if your kids are helping. They're kids, let them be messy. You're an adult, you're messy. You know, get over yourself. So, I might actually need to use the whisk here because I'm about to also add the eggs. So let me just kind of slide this off our spatula as much as I can. So I'll put my spatula here on my chocolate wrapper. So now let's whisk this puppy. As you can see, it's already smoothing out. It's turning into a nice consistency. Yeah, look at that, chocolatey heaven, huh? So, and now we need to beat the eggs in one at a time. So, number one. Yeah, a bit of elbow grease, huh? Never hurt anyone. But it does make you sweat. And it can be exhausting doing these things, you know, physically exhausting, but I always feel that it's a nice mental exercise. Plus you're doing something nice for the people you love, you know? Or if you find that you enjoy this kind of thing a lot, then why not make it a, you know, your job? If anything, this quarantine has shown us that life's too short to not follow your dreams. So if you realize during this quarantine that you want to become a cook, that you want to become a chef, a baker, a gardener, a painter, whatever it is, speak to your family, of course, because you know you'll need their support, whatever it is, you know. But I'm sure they'll help you, and they'll be there for you. And don't make it too ridiculous. Like, don't become, well, you know what? It's your choice. Become whatever you feel is right. You know? Maybe you want to become a nurse now, or a doctor, you know? We can't all be Doogie Howser and become doctors when we're in our teens. So why not? Why not try becoming a doctor? So, or a fireman, or a policeman, you know? Just ask yourself, why not? What's stopping you? And a lot of times it's just fear. Fear of change, fear of doing something new. So, I need to quickly wipe down the screen of my iPad because I can't see my recipe. But again, happy accidents happen. So, now that we have our mixture done, all we would need to do now is pour it into our lovely cake bottom, but that is not cooled yet. So, like I promised you, we'll not wait for that to happen because it will take quite some time. Like I said, half an hour, 45 minutes roughly. So once I am done here, I will pour this mixture in and then pop it into the oven for 30 minutes and at 350, so 200, and then after 30 minutes I'll reduce it down to 300, so 180-ish, and bake for another 30 minutes. And then when the 30 minutes are over, you just turn off your oven and leave the cake in there for another 30 minutes. So in all, it'll be 90 minutes bake. You can sprinkle stuff on top if you like, you know. You could even put in some frozen fruit in here and just bake with it. It'll just mess with your bake time. So you might need to leave it for a bit longer then, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. I will upload the pouring and all of that later. I think I have some summer fruits. I'll actually pop into summer fruits, I'd say. And yeah, when on YouTube you can see the complete video then. So thanks for watching another Dad's Making, and maybe I'll do some arts and crafts next time. I was thinking of building a birdhouse. Could be cool. So, but as always, thanks for watching. Steve is out. So, as you can see, our base here is cold now. We have our mixture, and I have a few lovely berries. So let's try to get them all together. So, oh, look at that chocolatey goodness just coming out of there, pouring out onto our lovely ginger nut base with the butter and the sugar, and then our high quality chili chocolate. Just amazing. If you are a chocolatophile, like, this should really get your juices flowing. So now just grab a few of the fruits. Like, I have a summer fruits mixture here. There is raspberries, blackberries, black currants, and red currants in here. So, and just give that a good sprinkle. Some of them will pop, some of them will drop down. But all in all, they'll just give it that extra bit of yummy, yummy goodness. And that's it, guys. This baby is gonna go into the oven at 350 for 30 minutes, like I said earlier. Then I'm gonna, so 350 is 200-ish Celsius. Then I'm gonna reduce it down to 300, so 160, 180, somewhere in between there for another half an hour. And then turn the oven off, leave it set for another half hour. And in the oven, just leave it in the oven for another half hour. Once that's done, take it out of the oven and just leave it to cool. And once it's cool, you can enjoy it with your wife, your kids, whoever you like. Thanks for watching. Steve is out with Dad's Making for Project Dad. Bye-bye.